All right. So in the midst of doing some testing, brainstorming on this process, I I guess we'll find out if the audio's doing all right on this frame here. And I don't know that I'm getting any heavy lag. There's a little bit of a lag going on, but it seems to be all right. It seems to be okay. It's telling me to watch out for my battery life because I know it does drain it if I overload it. I don't have it plugged in, but I think there's an outlet somewhere that's easy enough to reach. It shouldn't be a huge issue. So I don't know that I like the angle on this. It's a little too angled up. It's not super bad. I think this might be an okay angle depending on how I do it. I do feel like the better angle would be, let's see if I can move the microphone there. Better angle would be more from this perspective, probably a little bit closer, right about there. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slats wide. Just to keep that in mind, because I want to potentially see, this is, yep, that's the green screen potential material. Oh, it's a little floppy. And that's about a little more than 3 slats. Yeah, so that's 3 slats wide, and we said, what, about 10? So if we did that, 3 of those wide by maybe 2 of them tall. So I need to get 4 more of those, which is not expensive, and stick them together. I should be able to assemble a simple, cheap green screen. I could probably bump over to the side or just remove that hat from the frame, and I should have a workable setup. I do think the putting up the green screen behind me will get rid of some of these highlight spots too, and decrease the variability in the weight on the camera, so that it doesn't have chronic refocusing. I've got a side light over here to the side for some side lighting. Got a side light over to this side for some side lighting. I do have, hang on. That's one light going out. That's the overhead light going out. And so that's lit from both sides, warm light, white light combination. I don't know that I want the warm and white, so I may have to see about swapping that bulb out for something else. I don't know that it makes that big a difference, but I may play with it a little bit more. So I can get a green screen, I can get a lighting control, I can do adjustments to my background. I can see if I can get the angle on this differently. It's a little hard because this is a spare bedroom, and this spare bedroom is almost entirely bed. So literally I have my feet up on the side of the bed, and the bed goes from here pretty much all the way to the wall on the other side. So there's not a lot of room, but I might be able to set up a small table or something to raise the camera angle so it's a little more straight on top of the bed. So I think I've got like some of that positioning down right. And it seems like we're doing all right with the live streaming process right now. I still have to play around with OBS to see if I can get it to either live stream something or record something and then post it later. I'm pretty sure I can do a record using OBS without having to connect to the network, and then port that over to my editing software where I can add in extra features. Now, the features I'm looking at are like the what do you call that? Sidebar for the different topics of the video and their timestamps. And then at the bottom, what's called a lower third, which is when you see a reporter or other news event going on, and they talk about how, like they give you the name of the speaker, who they work for, what they do, some of the basic stats of the person, and then other than that, like I need a lower third for the intro. I need a lower third potentially for the part of the video which we call mid-rolls, I guess. It's not really mid-roll ads, but it's sort of ads because it's sort of talking about the stuff that I've been working on. And so I need to change a lower third on that one. I need to potentially be able to put in the sidebar drop-in feature so I can put in like a picture-in-picture kind of illustration of what I'm talking about. And then the brought to you by category of stuff is stuff I need to be working on, which is like the Captain Cosmos role-playing game for YouTube, the audio playing game. I need to upload those, and potentially something like the t-shirt designs that I was playing around with. And then after that, I did a little thinking about the secret snack of the day that I was thinking of doing, and I'm trying to keep in mind that as I'm building these videos, what they're an homage to what somebody else does. They're a sort of like a imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, essentially. But they're not a full-on copy. The show that I'm going to be doing the reproduction of this time around is a daily news show where they talk about world events and entertainment industry stuff. And what I want to do is use their format. They basically use them as a template, but to cover things that I cover in my channel. So it will be a review of a book or a short story for the first story. For the second story, it'll be a movie or a TV show. And I think we did the No Impact Man movie documentary. And then the mid-roll ads would be just essentially talking about my other projects. But it's important to note that the ads are my projects, whereas the stories should be things that are not my work. I'm reviewing other things. That's part of what I do for this channel. So I don't, like originally I was thinking about like I'd come up with a recipe, and that's not really the goal here. It's supposed to be like my categories are books, movies, games, and taste tests and products and stuff. So what I want to try to do is that secret item of the day that they do as a lead-in for the show that I'm imitating. I want to do that because it's a fun kind of thing to include in the program, but it should be a review of an existing thing, not me creating something, because that should be separated, made separate for a reason. So what I was thinking of doing was, I did find at the store like a week ago, and I was thinking about it as part of a future taste test, but I'm pretty sure we're at the point now where I don't have any more taste tests to do this year, other than maybe in December. And I have a backlog of existing taste tests that I could do videos for if I need to dip into that realm. So these mystery flavored Oreos that came out recently, I feel like I could just make a separate video that's just me tasting them and trying to break down what the flavor is on them, and then include that as the link for the mystery snack. because it is a mystery. It's one of those, like, can you guess the flavor? And I think that would be a fun thing to do as a separate link in. And so the format that they usually do for this program that I'm duplicating is the opener, first story, second story, mid-rolls, followed by the secret link of the day, which is a link outside the video, and then 2 more stories usually at the end, 1 or 2 more stories. And so what I have after the mystery snack is the video game, but I might pull in one of the other categories of content, which I had switched over to next month. So I still have art, music, health and well-being, board game, and products that I could include in there. Now, if I do a product review, that's a possibility of something I can do in there. And it would have to be a review of something that I'm not making. Again, it's meant to be a review. And then do the closer. So I think I may end up just seeing if I can put a product in there. I have to decide what product I'm going to do. But other than that, I think I got most of this worked out. I'm still going back and forth about what book to do or short story to do for the story of the day, the first story of the day. And then the closer, I need to do again, a sort of a lower third and a sidebar format for that. But I'm working on the scripting for the rest of it as well. So I think I've got most of what I need to figure out. Now I got to flesh out the script, find a product, and figure out which story I'm going to do. And that should get me everything I need for the video. Then I have to, I'm looking at some of the, because it's just easier at this point. I could probably build my own sidebar and the lower third and do the graphics in a way that, are better suited to my channel. But it's one of those things where, like, what's the phrase I believe is, perfection is the enemy of done. So, like, do I want to get it done or do I want to get it perfect? Because if I want to get it perfect, it'll never get done. But if I want to get it done, I can always get it better over time. So I think what I need to do is just go on to some of those stock image websites and see if I can find a decent, I could look for some background images or use some of my own images for background. And I need to find potentially a sample of a lower third and a sidebar that I could throw in and use for what I'm working on. And theoretically, I should be able to use those in OBS, and I know I can use them in my editing software for the videos. If I can get them to work with OBS, I could then use that kind of format for live streaming, where you can change up the window from 2 different points of view or perspectives and set your templates off to the side of what you're going to pull in. And so there's a way in OBS where you can set up your main camera like we have right here, and then set in a template that has this whole area cut out for me to still show up, but it has a graphic that can go along the bottom or a graphic that goes along the side, and I can stack both of them together, and that can give me the lower third that I can make appear and disappear in the middle of a stream, and the sidebar can do the same in the middle of a stream, so it can come in and go out. And then on top of that, I can do a smaller window with either still images or video to appear up in this corner, so that I can make a stack of those that during a video with a tap of a button, they'll pop up as I'm recording. So there's some ways I could potentially do that. Now, whether or not my computer will cooperate with me when I try to do that, I don't know yet. I feel like if I'm not live streaming it and I'm just recording in OBS, I may have a chance of getting it to do exactly what I tell it to do. I feel like it's usually when I'm live streaming, because it's monitoring and maintaining the camera, the microphone, my being able to see what I'm doing on this one, recording and uploading it through the Wi-Fi, and cooling with the fan, and also getting feedback from the site it's uploading it to. It's just the whole load, I think, is too much for the processor. But if all I'm doing is recording it, you're losing about half of that workload on the processor. And so I think I could potentially get a functional recording. And it's about the same as doing live streaming. It just requires me, once I've finished, to upload it, which adds like a hour or two to the processing time. But it's not a huge issue in the long run to be able to pull that off, as long as I do it ahead of time. This is easier because, like, once I've done a thing, it shows up. It's already there. I don't have to put any extra workload in. So I think that's sort of what I'm hoping to be able to achieve with OBS. If I can't get that to work with OBS, I can use and I'm starting to feel really sick here, so I may have to cut this one early tonight. Poor food choices today on my part. But the things that I talked about doing there with OBS, with the lower third, and the sidebar, I can also do in my editing software, using pretty much the same format of the graphics that would be used. So I'm going to go look for some templates in like Shutterstock and some of the other stock image sites, and download them, some of the free images if I can, and use them as the sidebar in the lower third. And regardless of which format I end up doing this with, I can do it for either OBS or my editing software, and it should work fine either way. The editing software takes a little more work to get it to fit in there, but you get a little bit more finer control. All right, I'm really not feeling super great, so I think I'm going to call it here and make a split out of here in a real second. But that's sort of where I am with this project right now. I'm hoping with the next 24 hours of project, that I work on, to be able to have, I might give a try with OBS after this. I may go out, take care of what I need to take care of, and then try to hop back on using OBS if I can, and see if it'll cooperate with me today. So I will be calling it right about here, and I will be back in about 15 minutes to try an OBS stream. So I will see you in a bit for that. Take care and have a good night.